this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Under the Biden administration, the government paid sponsors in HHS in order to host these children. And those sponsors, many times, we found instances where they trafficked these children themselves. So under that administration, we not only had children that were in this country as a part of a program, the government was paying individuals that were knowingly trafficking them and abusing them. That has stopped.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. Nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update, and we've got two big stories for you. First up, Democrats are not just looking to get rid of ICE, but now they're saying they want to dismantle the entire Department of Homeland Security. What would that look like? And what is the White House saying in response? We have all that for you in a moment. Also, in a big report, the FBI Director Kash Patel is now saying the FBI has uncovered Antifa's funding sources, and some of the money may be coming from overseas. That as well. But before we get to that, I want to take a moment and ask you to help the people in Israel with my friends at the IFCJ working right now on the ground for all those in need. As Operation Epic Fury intensifies, the world braces for what comes next, and people of faith pray for freedom and for God's people to be protected. In the Holy Land, red alert sirens fill the air. Sirens that give you 15 seconds to reach the nearest bomb shelter. The situation is serious and the threat is real. In times like this, freedom and faith aren't just abstract ideas. They are what we depend on. And the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground, preparing large-scale distributions of life-saving food, first aid, and emergency essentials for security personnel, while helping ensure hospitals, emergency rooms, and shelters are stocked with critical medical supplies. This aid is focused on Israel's most vulnerable, the sick, the elderly, children, and families in great need. But the fellowship needs your most generous gift today to make this work all possible. Now is your time to stand with Israel's most vulnerable. To rush your gift, call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ. Or give online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
Democrats, we are now learning, are looking not only to dismantle ICE, but also the entire Department of Homeland Security. Remarks now coming from Representative Ilhan Omar signal that the National Democrats, as a party, are pursuing sweeping changes that extend far beyond their calls to, quote, abolish ICE. During a town hall, Omar said Democrats are not only discussing eliminating immigration and customs enforcement, but are also engaged in conversations about dismantling the Department of Homeland Security altogether. Quote, what I will say is that there is an easier conversation happening today than 6-7 years ago when I got to Congress about what we need to do with ICE, which is to abolish it, Omar told attendees in Golden Valley, Minnesota. She added, there's a lot of conversation about what the dismantlement of the Department of Homeland Security should look like. Now, Omar's remarks come as Democrats continue to protest federal immigration enforcement operations directed under President Donald Trump. ICE, which was established in 2003 under the DHS, has carried out immigration enforcement actions for more than 2 decades. Now, Thursday marked the 6th day of a federal shutdown forced by congressional Democrats over their new demands to get rid of ICE, or at the bare minimum, as they describe it, reform it, which actually means shut it down. Now, Democrats are pushing for, they say, a series of major new restrictions on ICE operations. What does that include? Banning agents from wearing face masks and requiring judicial warrants before making any arrests at all. They are also calling for a mandate that ICE agents wear body cameras, something the Trump administration is already moving towards. But of course, they want to seem like there's fake outrage. In fact, ICE agents have been requesting the body cameras to prove their innocence in many of the accusations that are coming from the radical left. Now, in addition, Democrats are seeking to prohibit immigration enforcement actions at what they describe as sensitive locations, meaning they'll become safe havens for actual criminals. What are these places? Hospitals, schools, and polling sites. Just so you know, with American individuals that have broken laws as an American citizen, you can be arrested right now at a hospital or a school or at a polling site. So why would we give special care to illegal immigrants is the question every American should be asking. Now, one other side point about the insanity of them saying that you can't arrest illegal immigrants at polling sites. Republicans, they're laughing at that, noting that non-citizens, by the way, are literally prohibited from voting in U.S. elections under federal law. So why are Democrats so angry and wanting to demand that our laws would make it impossible for law enforcement to, you guessed it, arrest illegal immigrants at polling sites? Is it because they want them to vote or know that some of them already are voting right now? Now, in recent weeks, several Democratic leaders have strongly condemned ICE operations, including Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat who lost the 2024 election to Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance. He now warned that federal enforcement efforts could expand nationwide. Therefore, we must defund them. He also had this warning to America. Quote, to Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in L.A., or you're in Chicago, or you're wherever, they're coming next. Now, to be clear, for me, that's a good thing. If we're sending law enforcement to clean up cities that are filled with tons of criminals. Yet again, the Democrats showing whose side they're actually on. Now, Republicans have urged that ICE enforcement actions are not only lawful operations carried out by federal authorities, but they are needed to protect American citizens. And the crime statistics have shown where ICE agents have been out in major enforcement actions, we've seen the crimes drastically drop in those areas. Of course, critics of Democratic proposals say dismantling ICE or DHS more broadly would significantly not only reshape national security of the homeland, but it would allow for criminals to run amok. DHS, by the way, oversees 22 agencies focusing on national security and public safety. Major components include Customs and Border Protection, known as CBP. If you get rid of Homeland Security, you would get rid of that. You'd also get rid of, obviously, Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE agents, and the TSA. So yes, Democrats want to shut down the same people that keep you safe when flying on airplanes. They also want to get rid of FEMA. That is also, yet again, under the Department of Homeland Security. So the next time there's a national disaster, guess what? Yeah, no one from the federal government would be there to help you if the Democrats get their way. Oh, and if you're at sea, or you're a drug dealer, or maybe some other country that's looking to do harm, don't worry. Democrats also say, yeah, that includes the U.S. Coast Guard. So if you're sinking on a boat, tough luck for you. Democrats say no more. And if you are caring about our president and others around him and other cabinet members, well, you would like the Secret Service protection. If Democrats get their way shutting down the Department of Homeland Security, that would include the Secret Service. And finally, maybe this is what it's really all about for them. U.S. citizenship and immigration services under the USCIS. Yes, you've probably dealt with them if you've ever had to get a passport or other things like that. Well, Democrats also apparently say, yeah, let's get rid of that as well. So to be clear, in the midterm elections, Democrats are saying exactly what they believe. They hate this country. They hate secure borders. They hate law and order. They hate FEMA. They hate the Coast Guard. They hate the Secret Service. And they hate the people that help U.S. citizens and immigration services as well. And they want to abolish all of it just because they don't like ICE actions. This is what the midterms are going to be about. And thank goodness Donald Trump has made it clear as he had a campaign rally for the midterms. We must continue to fight back against this anarchy.
Now story number 2.
Kash Patel, the FBI director, is now coming out and saying that the FBI has uncovered Antifa funding sources in a major breaking news event. Now, let me remind you of where we were about 4 months ago when Kash Patel was talking at the White House. With President Trump, and this is what he said.
What we are doing at the FBI is simple. It does not require rocket science. We are following the money. Money never lies. And that's what it's going to take to bring down this network of organized criminal thugs, gangbangers, and yes, domestic terrorists, because that's what they are. They are harming everyday citizens in every single one of our communities. And the folks you see here on the right and left, they're some of the bravest men and women we have today. They're reporting the stories live time because the mainstream media won't cover it. They're putting their lives on the line. They're standing up for the flag. The least we can do is stand up for them. So you have my thanks. I read more of your stories than I do theirs because you guys are putting out the truth. And we deserve a country where you are protected as equally as they are. We, in this FBI, will go after with the criminals with a vengeance. We will not rest until we find every single seed, money, donor, organization, and funding mechanism that we have. And I want to echo the Secretary's comments on Scott Bessent, who's allowing us to map out these networks through their financial criminal activities, which has been going on for decades. And I would like to remind the American public, they built this disease temple of corruption over decades. And in 8 short months, Mr. President, you have crippled their foundation because of your leadership here, because of the interagency, because of people like Deputy Attorney General Blanche, and because of Attorney General Pam Bondi's fearless leadership to go after criminals wherever they are. They will not be able to hide. They were able to hide and conspire with prior administrations, and we are exposing their corruption from within. And we will go to every single city in this country under Operation Summer Heat and the other operations we are doing at the FBI to bring these criminals to justice. We will arrest every single one of them from whatever perch you sit in, private or public, no matter how your goal or your ambition is. It will be crushed by the Constitution because the American people deserve law and order, and that's what we're going to give you.
You listen to Kash Patel there, and he made it very clear. We're going to go after the funders. The FBI will follow the funds to dismantle Antifa operations. So fast forward just 4.5 months later, and the FBI director is saying now that investigators have uncovered what he described as major funding streams tied to Antifa. The revelations signal possible new enforcement actions as the Bureau is intensifying their scrutiny of left-wing violence, according to the report coming out from the Washington Examiner. Kash Patel also, speaking on the Dan Bongino show, said the FBI under President Donald Trump has been conducting a financial investigation into how demonstrations linked to the loosely organized far-left movement are really supported. Here's part of that interview.
There's been actual action to take down and dismantle this entire ring of people.
You're right. We set out to actually activate intelligence-based operations. This includes Antifa. And Dan, you know this. How many people were arrested related to Prairieland? We're over 24 federal arrests. We're in the middle of federal trial in 5 of those defendants this week again in Texas. 19 people have been convicted for acts of violence related to Antifa. It's in the indictment. You don't got to believe me or you. Everybody can go read the public indictment. And it didn't just happen there. It happened in Cop City in Georgia, where we had to go rearrest everybody because the state authorities couldn't get their act together to produce the enough information to take that to trial, so we did. And it's not a creation or manufacturing of information. It exists. It's just a willingness that you and I and this building's new leadership took to say, we're going to look at the facts that exist. We're not going to try to make up facts that don't so we can serve a political narrative. And wait till you, and I know you know this, but wait till you see what's coming in the next month or two on the funding streams related to this. You and I had launched a serious investigation. We had said these organizations don't operate alone, don't operate in silence. They operate with a heavy, heavy stream of funding. And we started looking into it, and guess what, Dan? We found them.
We found them. Now, to be clear, Patel did not identify specific donors, organizations, or financial mechanisms. but said more details could emerge in the coming months as the investigation continues. The FBI director said agents are examining whether funding has flowed through U.S.-based nonprofit groups. Let me say that again. Whether funding has flowed through U.S.-based nonprofit groups, meaning some of this money could actually be coming from overseas. There's also some groups that have tax-exempt status, as well as possible foreign sources. He emphasized that investigators are focused on tracing financial support tied to acts of violence specifically, and not constitutionally protected protest activity. Go back to what Kash Patel said, money doesn't lie, describing the effort as a strategy to follow the money to determine who may be underwriting unlawful conduct. Patel also pointed to prosecutions the Bureau has already brought that he said were connected to Antifa-related violence, including federal arrests and convictions tied to protest incidents in multiple states now under his leadership. He referenced that ongoing federal trial involving 9 defendants in Texas. They're accused of ambushing and attempting to murder ICE personnel on July the 4th of last year. Patel also cited a case from 2023 in Georgia surrounding the proposed Atlanta public safety training facility known as Cop City. The director said the FBI has elevated the issue internally by creating what he described as a dedicated program focused on identifying financial backers of protest-related violence. Tracking Antifa has become so important that the Bureau, he said, established additional resources to investigate the funding behind such activity. Antifa has long been described by participants and many analysts as a decentralized movement rather than a formal organization, a distinction that has complicated past law enforcement efforts. They did this on purpose. Why? Because it's hard to pursue conspiracy-style cases. Patel points to Antifa's organizational structures, including conferences and a national network for local chapters. Bongino also criticized past FBI leadership under Democratic President Barack Obama and Joe Biden for describing Antifa as, they said, an idea, quote unquote. It's not an idea when actual action follows the idea. In September of 25, Trump also signed that executive order declaring Antifa a domestic terrorist organization after first raising the idea during his first term. Patel said the FBI's current approach relies solely on intelligence and financial investigations similar to those used in other counterterrorism probes. He did not announce new charges tied specifically to the alleged funding networks, but clearly there's a lot more to this story coming very soon. And it also goes back to what was said 5 months ago at the White House. Donald Trump had a clear mandate on this issue, and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino made sure to pay off on that mandate, so the American people got exactly what they voted for.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.